The World Health Organization has found that half of all mental health conditions start by the age of 14, and one piece of advice we regularly hear is to connect and communicate. But this can be incredibly difficult for both teenagers and their parents, as many struggle in their day-to-day interactions, seeming to always be at odds. I'm sure you've all been in situations where something tiny and sometimes trivial has suddenly exploded. I study these small triggers that can cause communication breakdown between teenagers and their parents. My research uses conversation analysis, an observational method that closely examines recordings of real conversations from consenting participants, analysing not only what is being said, but also how it's being said. Through this detailed analysis, I have identified a common theme: authority. Parents express their identity as parents by invoking the authority that stems from their parental rights and obligations. Let me give you a concrete example. On the slide is a real conversation between a mother and her 14-year-old daughter Melissa. Here, Melissa is doing her homework, and Mum begins to issue a threat. In interactions like these, parents demonstrate their rights and obligations to parent their teenagers. However, teenagers resist this type of authority. In this case, Melissa recognises that Mum's turn was heading towards producing a threat and interrupts it to challenge the basis of the threat. She demonstrates that when it comes to schoolwork, she knows more than her mother. By demonstrating this knowledge, she presents herself not as a daughter or as a child, but as a student. In the conversations I've studied, this pattern regularly occurs. Parents do things in talk that assert their authority with the rights to influence their teenage children's behaviour. But teenagers do not see authority this way. Instead, they use their knowledge as a competing form of authority to actively resist their parents. For teenagers, knowledge is power. They use their independent knowledge to assert their autonomy and identify as experts in some other field, whether this is a hobby, sport, or schoolwork. My research shows very precisely how conversations like these can quickly break down. Parents focus on their rights and obligations, and teenagers attempt to demonstrate their expertise. But neither party properly engages with the other side's point of view. They hear, but don't listen. So the solution I have to offer is clear. We all need to listen to each other much more carefully, and that includes parents. Both parental rights and teenage expertise are valid forms of authority, and both parties need to appreciate the other side's point of view. So by listening closer and fully engaging, we can improve how we connect and communicate, and ultimately improve teenage mental health.